Hi, my name's Grant. I work for Schwalbe Tyres UK. I've been with the company for 7 years, and some of you may have met me at some of the races and events that we support. In this video, we're going to look at demounting a tyre from a rim. Obviously, there's two main reasons that you're going to remove your tyre from your wheel. Firstly, we're going to identify, is the tyre worn out or do you have a puncture? Pretty obvious if you do. First thing to do is to remove the air from the wheel. In this case, we've got a Presta valve. I'm just going to remove the dust cap. And with a Presta valve, you undo the tip of the valve core and then press the valve in to remove the air. As you can see, as the air releases from the tyre, from the inner tube, you can see that the tyre then slightly removed itself, popped off the bead of the rim. So we're going to let all the air out as much as we can. Just pump it just in case the valve gets sticky. And then remove the security washer. A little tip that I do, I just push the valve slightly inside the rim like this. It just removes the valve, pushes it out of the way from the bead of the tyre. Because what we now want to do is push the bead of the tyre into the centre of the wheel, which is what we've mentioned in other videos, which basically gives you all the slack out of the tyre, just makes your own life a little bit easier. So we're going to push this through like this. All the way around. I could feel that both sides were going with that, but you might find it was a bit of a stubborn tyre. Using your thumb, so fingers on the other side, thumbs like this, just helps you push the bead off the rim. And you might need to do that both sides, but in this case, it just did both straight away. It was nice and easy. Just to mention, if you have a different type of valve, like a Schrader valve, or the car type valve, it's the same process of how you want to release the air in the sense that we want to get the tyre off. So remove the dust cap. If there's a security washer, remove that also. But there isn't an exposed valve core to remove the air. So find something, preferably not sharp, and be careful. But like a Phillips head screwdriver, a larger one, you can depress the tip of the valve core, releasing the air. Just letting the tyre down. Same process. We'll go back to the Presta one, because that's what we started with. So what I'd recommend is starting opposite the valve as well. So we'll turn the wheel over. We recommend the use of plastic tyre levers. This way you shouldn't damage your rim. Schwalbe tyre levers have some handy features to them. As I've mentioned in a previous video, they have the clip that acts as a third hand that will fix into the clincher of the rim. That's more for mounting rather than demounting the tyre. But what they do have is this little cutout on the side, and I'll show you how that works as that clips into the spoke, holding the lever in place, making your hands free so you can remove the tyre. Starting opposite the valve, we get the spade end of the tyre lever underneath the bead of the tyre. Using the weight of our hand down, just push the bead out. As I mentioned, a little cutout here. What we can do is tuck that into the spoke, make sure it's secure, as close as in line with the spoke the better, and that keeps our hands free to use another tyre lever if necessary. So what we'll do is we'll just get the spade end of the lever again underneath. And what I recommend, it's good to use your weight as an advantage and pushing down rather than pulling up. It should make it a little bit easier. With your finger and thumb, we just slowly pull tyre around. Don't worry if the tyre lever falls out like that. Just be careful you don't slip on it or tread on it. And all we're going to do is continue to move the tyre lever around to unmount half the tyre. And there we are. Half the tyre demounted. What I would suggest now, you can leave the inner tube in. I always think it's good to remove the tube fully. We're going to pull the tyre to one side. Pull the valve stem out of the rim and just carefully remove the inner tube. Pop that to one side for the moment. Most of the time now you should just be able to remove the tyre from the wheel by hand. But if you need tyre levers to remove it, the other side of it from the wheel, again, it's the same process. We're just putting the tyre lever, the spade end underneath, popping it over and then popping it over the rim. But this time we're kind of pitching the lever this way and it will just remove the tyre like that. Now that you've removed the tyre from the wheel, if you suffered a puncture, it's worth inspecting your tyre, because if you'd put a new inner tube or a repaired inner tube straight into the tyre, the item that's caused the puncture may still be there and re-puncture the new or repaired tube. What I would suggest, and be careful when you do this because you don't want to cut yourself on the piece of glass, thorn or stone or whatever it is, possibly metal, that's caused this. I use my fingers flat, pop them inside the tyre, and then with my other hand I'm just slowly rotating the tyre, just feeling round to see if there's anything still in the tyre that might cause it to puncture. Just to double check with everything. If you've got a worn out tyre, I would just suggest, inspecting it, see if there's anything wrong with the tyre that could affect the setup of the bike. So if the wheel wasn't in straight or anything like any peculiar wear patterns on it, just to be aware of before you fit your new tyre. Just inspect it all. Go into the inner tube. Tubes you can obviously replace with a new tube or even repair your tube. If your tube is damaged beyond repair, you can take them to your local dealer now, where we will actually recycle them for you. We will take them from the dealers and we'll actually make new inner tubes further down the line. So that is demounting a tyre from your wheel. Pretty much the same process with tubeless. That is covered in our tubeless video. And we also have another video on remounting your tyre or fitting a new tyre. If you have any questions, please feel free to send us a message or comment below.